I want to welcome you to Dream Chasers Radio with me, your host, Yaya Diamond. Oh my gosh, I am on a roll today. It is such a wonderful day. Yes, I am excited about today. I am more excited about today than my guest, who you're listening to on the other end, who's probably just like freaking out because I am so silly. I am just like, okay, I'm here. Yes, I'm going to be right back though. Don't you go anywhere, okay? She's got me laughing. Oh my gosh. Okay, I gotta pull it together here. All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in to Dream Chasers Radio. We have a great show for you today. It's pretty serious, this show, and I'm gonna get really, really personal in this show. So, and I don't think she knows I'm gonna do that, but I'm gonna surprise her. But I'm gonna welcome Anna to the show. Welcome, Anu, right? Anu, right?
Yeah, you got it.
I got it. Okay. Because I can be pretty bad with names, but I'm getting better. I'm really getting better. I'm getting really better. So shh.
I won't tell if you won't.
No, I don't tell anybody.
I know, because this show's supposed to be a bit serious, but we're not making it.
I know. Shh. Okay. It's not working.
Center.
Welcome to the show, Anu. Thank you so much for being on.
Oh, thank you so much, Yaya. I love that. Thank you so much for having me on. Wow, it is an absolute honor to be in your presence.
Thank you.
Wow.
Thank you. Yeah. I have so much fun on this show. It's just, you get, we're doing something very serious. I know, but it's like, it's so good to still be alive.
Yeah, I know, right?
There's a lot of things that have happened, and we're going to talk about that today. There's a lot of things that happen, and being a victim and becoming a victor, you have to actually be alive to be a victor. It's like, thank goodness I'm still here, and we're going to talk about that. So tell me about yourself, and tell me about victim to victor, please.
Yeah. Absolutely. So hi everyone, my name's Anu and I am from Coventry in the UK, and last year I had a book which is the name of Victim to Victor that was published last year in October. And again, one of my publishers was actually based in the States, Absolute Publishing House. And then on the back end of that, I started my podcast show, because what I wanted to do was to not only just publish a book, but to actually be the advocate for sexual abuse for survivors out there, to kind of come forward and to know that they're not alone. So my book is about sexual abuse and overcoming trauma. And it's not only a memoir, but it's also how I overcame, the adversities and challenges of my life. And it's like divided into 4 different parts. There's a lot of self-help and healing modalities, as well as a science behind, abuse and trauma. And it's just like a really good kind of self-help kit and DIY kit, really. So that got released, and now my podcast has been really successful this year. I've been getting so many amazing guests, so many therapists and experts in the field of psychology and mental health who have been coming onto my show and sharing again, ways to heal and ways to overcome trauma, because trauma is huge. I mean, trauma, right?
Oh, yeah.
It's huge. And we don't even realize it, but everybody has had some sort of trauma in their life.
Yeah.
And sometimes a lot of people don't even realize that they've got trauma, but it comes out in very different ways. I mean, in my case, it came out in my awful choice of men during my adult years. But, in other people, it may come out as aggression, as anger, as sadness, depression. So trauma is huge, which is why I've had this need to go into it and to study more and to just try and help as many people as I can. And my podcast platform's a really great way for me to do that. And I'm really grateful for, social media. I'm grateful for having the technologies that we have in this day and age to be able to get across the world and to impact so many lives globally. I mean, we are blessed to live in this day and age. So I'm really thankful.
Yeah, I am too. You know what I'm thankful for? that we don't have dial up anymore. Oh my gosh.
Dial up.
Dial up. We can insert that beautiful music that it used to make right
Oh
here. Oh,
my
it's terrible.
goodness. I
And
know,
so
right?
yeah, I know what you mean, and I'm trying to make light of it because it is a heavy situation. It is a heavy subject because, when I was young, I was molested and I also was date
Mm.
raped. So I know
Oh
what you
boy.
mean. That mindset that you put on yourself, like it's your fault. It's your
Oh,
fault. You did this. This is
wow.
your fault. You should have never did this. You should have never worn this. You should have never gone there. And
Mm,
literally that is not your fault. It shouldn't
no.
be the mindset that we take on. Since you've started this podcast, what has helped you to heal?
To be honest, my writing really helped me to heal. But what's really helping me now is the amazing guests that I've been having on my show, because I feel like from every guest I'm learning something new about
Mm,
myself.
mm-hmm,
And they say, don't they, that your students are your greatest teachers, whereas in my case
yes.
I feel like my guests are my greatest teachers. And I'm so thankful to have my guests on my show, and they probably don't even realize the impact that they've been having on me, but that it is them. And I just hope that my journey continues, and that my podcast grows and it starts to impact more and more people, more survivors, especially because my heritage is actually Indian. And in India at the moment, it's still a very taboo topic, sexual
Mm-hmm.
abuse and rape. I mean, every 15 minutes there's a rape in India, and it's just a lot of it's just brushed under the carpet unless there's media coverage. And it's just so rife out there, and that's a country that I'm really looking to kind of get into, and to really raise awareness, to be that woman who women can kind of turn to if they do need any sort of support, if they need anyone to listen to. I want to be that person.
Yeah.
Mm,
And I concur. Having your guests on the show just teaches you more and more about yourself. But
yeah,
it's kind of like a selfish thing. I think I feel kind of selfish. Like, this is not really for anybody watching. This is for me. So
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So definitely, I totally get it. I totally get it. So in your healing process, writing, doing your book, starting your podcast, what is the major thing that you probably didn't think that you had, or some kind of a whatever it was that was secretly hidden in there that actually kind of came out? Could you talk about that?
Oh my goodness, yeah. I guess for me, it was courage. I never realized how courageous I actually am until the
Mm,
fact that, I was writing, and even then, I was getting triggered by every moment of that story. I was getting triggered because all the events were happening again, and so it was a real healing process for me, the writing. But then, just having it out there, showing how vulnerable I am. Vulnerability is actually a sign of strength. I didn't even realize. I thought the fact that I was feeling so vulnerable, I thought it was a feeling of weakness. So
mm,
I've learned that, I'm strong and I'm courageous, and just talking about it now, I feel like I've really normalized it. And the fact
mm-hmm,
that, I'm not talking about it like, from a victim mentality. I'm talking about it from a victorious attitude. And to get to this stage, it does take a lot of work. And I'm just hoping that by me sharing how I got to this stage in my life, that it's going to help many other survivors, because I know the pain that sexual abuse and trauma causes one. And I really don't want anyone to suffer like I did.
yeah. And I totally agree with you. Going through that as a young child and going through it as a teenager, it really pushed me away from being outgoing. And
Yeah,
again, that accusation of it's your fault. This is
yeah.
it's your fault. You should have never. You should have done this. You should have done that. You should have never done this. You should have done that. When I got over. when I didn't have anyone to help me get over it. I mean, my mom, of course, but
Yeah.
ultimately you have to get over it yourself.
Mm.
Literally what pushed me in the right direction was understanding and going to college and learning psychology.
Oh, okay. So you did
So
that.
yeah, so when I took
Amazing.
psychology, uh, I took psychology, and within the first, I think, 2 weeks, we learned about psychological indebtment and just things like, oh, the psyche of a child and the psyche of a teenager, and on and
Yeah.
on and on, and how molestation and rape, it could be
Mm.
deemed as their fault, but it truly isn't. And then when they came and they said that it wasn't your fault, it's the mental stability or instability, therefore, of the
Right.
person that's actually doing the action. You
Ah.
could be dressed in a tuba.
Oh,
It
okay.
doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't. It really
Right.
doesn't. Yeah. It's all
You could
power and control.
Exactly. You could
Mm.
be dressed to the hilt and wear a comforter around you,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
not your fault.
No.
And so, literally, it's the mindset of the person who is the accuser, the person who's actually
Yeah.
doing the action, that is at fault. And no
Mm.
matter what you did, there was really nothing you could do to
No.
prevent that from happening, except not be in that situation. And a lot of times we're
Yeah.
just not able to not be there.
Exactly, and we do. We kick ourselves, and we're so bad on ourselves, just
Hmm.
blaming ourselves, thinking, if I hadn't have gone to that party, then I wouldn't have
Right.
been, date raped, and if I wasn't walking down that street that time, then I wouldn't have been molested. But I'm sorry, there's only so much you can blame yourself. At the end of the day, it happened to you,
Right.
and there's obviously nothing that can be done about what happened, but what you
Hmm.
can change now is your perspective about how you choose to see that. Do you see it as an evil act, which it was, but then
Hmm.
do you let that destroy you now in your present stage of your life, or do you try and combat what happened to you and combat those emotions and try and heal from it so that you can live a much more positive and more healthier life?
Hmm.
Definitely I would choose the latter. And
Right.
and this is what I want other survivors to be choosing as well, because we should never be letting stuff like that impact our life. And it's why there is healing, and why there is counseling and therapy. So there's so many support services that you can actually go and choose, and to try and overcome what happened to you.
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I totally agree. You know that the one thing that really, really touched me was Eartha Kitt, the original Catwoman, was a product of rape. Her
wow.
mother got raped and had Eartha
Wow.
Kitt, and Eartha Kitt became this big major celebrity of her time. But her mother overcame it and said, "This child is not guilty." And she had
She's
that
not.
baby. And she's not the
Wow.
only one. There's a lot of different people out there that have had,
Yeah.
children out of rape and out of molestation, and they didn't accuse the
Mm.
child because the child was supposed to be here.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
obviously, Eartha Kitt, she was amazing, and she
Yeah.
deserved to be here and to live her life, and her mother gave her the opportunity. It's hard though. I'm
Mm.
not gonna say it's not easy, because every day that her mother had to look at her, she had to remember
Yeah.
how Eartha was
She got
born
there.
and how she got
Absolutely.
there. So it takes a really strong person, but at
Yeah.
the same time, you have molestation and you do have rape, and you do have rape within marriage. Do you talk about that as well?
Oh my goodness, yes. Again, domestic abuse, domestic violence,
Mm-hmm.
sociopathic disorders, which, our partners may be experiencing. Yeah, again, they're huge when it comes to, surviving like a violent or an abusive relationship. And again, it's stuff which I am discussing a lot in my podcast, and again, stuff which I experienced because it was kind of like a consequence of what had happened to me, because I had so low self-worth and I didn't
Mm.
value myself. So I was attracting these perpetrators into my life who also didn't value me and who
Mm.
also took advantage of me. You know, they saw a naive woman, a very vulnerable woman, whom they could try and manipulate and try and control. And so, yeah, again, it's a big part of my trauma. And, you know, I feel that a lot of women do get stuck in these relationships, and they don't feel that there's a way out. They feel like that's all they deserve. And it's about trying to empower, you know, the women now, trying to make women realize that, you know, we are valued beings and we do deserve love, you know,
Yeah.
and a lot of that comes from self-love. It's about loving ourselves first,
Mm-hmm.
because only then can we attract real love into our lives. And if you're being controlled or manipulated in a relationship right now, it's not real love.
Right. It's not. When did you begin to love yourself?
I say that's probably recently. Very, very recently, as in like probably in the last year or so. And I guess what triggered that was the fact that finally, you know, I'm not living my life just for me. I'm living it for the universe. And I feel that my love came as soon as I started to give more contribution, trying to help others, because just kind of giving more, it kind of makes space for a lot more self-love, I always
Yeah.
find. Whereas if you're just constantly take, I just find that that can really inhibit you from seeing true love within yourself.
Yeah.
You know, so yeah, the art of life, I feel, is giving.
Yeah, definitely. What can people receive from your podcast?
What can they receive? A lot of tips on how to love yourself and a lot of knowledge on trauma and abuse, because in order to actually realize what happened to you, you know, you have to be self-aware, you have to be educated, and you need that knowledge. So it's about kind of grasping that knowledge and then acknowledging what happened to you, and then forgiving yourself as well. And again, these are all a lot of these are in a lot of the podcast talks that I have, and I have so many other survivors who come and share their stories of survival, and each of those survivor has something special to share.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I absolutely love interviewing different guests, because everybody has their own unique story and their own unique special way that they survived and overcome their own challenges, which we could all benefit from, right? We all learn from each other.
Yeah. Yes, definitely, definitely. You know, I found out today that on TikTok there is a hand signal for abuse or you
Wow.
know, warning. So it's here, here, and
Oh,
here. So if
okay.
you ever see that, or if you are ever in a situation, anyone that's watching this program today of abuse, please remember this as you talk. Do that, and the
Wow.
police will be called.
Okay.
In your area, the police will be called. You know, I think that
Mm,
giving is amazing.
yeah.
I think that giving back is amazing. And I think it starts from a selfish point of view. It always does. But it
Mm,
ends up being the best thing that you could do for yourself.
yeah.
And loving yourself is one of the best things that you can do for you, but you don't know how to do it until you reach out to other people who are doing it for themselves. And
Yeah.
so coming on the show, being, you know, being here, thank you so much. But I think that people need to be tuning
Mm,
into Victim to Victor. Even if you don't have an abusive relationship, you need to find out what an abusive relationship is so that you
yeah.
can see it for yourself and then
Mm,
recognize it in your, maybe your neighborhood, in your family. It may be
yeah.
happening and you just don't see it. um,
Yeah.
and when someone tells you that they're going through something, believe them.
Absolutely.
Believe
Yeah.
them. Not unless there's a situation where you know something more than we do, but I mean, most people don't reach out too many times
Yeah. They
because then they
really
feel like
don't.
it's their fault. So believe them. Believe them.
Yeah.
Definitely. Wow, this is a very big situation that needs to be handled.
Mm,
And hopefully we can, you know, begin to understand it better by listening to
yeah.
this podcast, Victim to Victor. I appreciate it. It's a very serious project to take on. um,
Mm.
and ultimately, how do you want it to end for you?
I want it to reach as many people as possible globally. At the moment, my biggest listeners are actually in the States. My biggest fans are in the
Well,
States.
that's wonderful. You'll have to come over here now. You just have to come to the States.
All my friends are there because obviously I make friends with all my guests, and yeah, absolutely. But I really wanted to be hitting, the other corners of the world, in particular Asian countries. At the moment, podcast isn't so popular in a lot of the Asian countries, but I know that in the next couple of years, podcasting is going to be huge there. But again, that's one of the reasons why I started to publish all my episodes on YouTube, which, believe it or not, my number one listeners on YouTube are actually from India. So we're getting there. We're getting there.
Right. But it's wonderful that you're doing this. Thank you so much for doing this, taking your time out to help women and sometimes men. Okay, sometimes men.
Absolutely.
To understand that this is not their psychological issue. This is the issue that is brought on by the person that's actually doing this. Remember that you are a wonderful person.
Yeah.
Remember that you should love yourself because, there is no one else that's going to love you as much as you need to be loved unless you just, like she said, she devalued herself. And we don't want you to do that. So go ahead and tune into Victor to Victor. Victor is a victimtovictor.net.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, you got it, sister. Thanks.
Victimtovictor.net. And
I love it.
And take a listen. And if you're in a bad situation, I was told that the worst time to be in a situation is the moment that you decide to leave. Don't say anything. When you get ready to leave, get help first, and then don't say anything. Yeah. It's a regular time. It's a regular day. And pick your time. And don't say anything. You pack up what you need to pack up. Because this is exactly what happens. You take too much. Or you stay, and you hang out too long. And they catch you. So, that's going to be the worst time. So get some help first. Don't just leave. Get some help. Wow. And that way you can leave. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Anu. I appreciate it. Very big subject, very, very touchy subject, but one that needs to be definitely exposed.
I think so, yeah. And again, like you said, you're a survivor too. And I just think that you're already inspiring many. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's, you just got to move on with your life.
You
got to move on. You definitely got to move on. You definitely got to go after your dreams, and your dreams are relevant. And the reason that you've been attacked so hard in your life, and this is how I feel, is because you have a big dream and you have a lot of people to touch, and the universe wants you to touch them, but there's something there keeping you from doing it. Don't let it. Go after it. Your dreams are viable. Your dreams are important. Go after it. Listen to victimtovictor.net. And get your self-confidence going, build those muscles, and get out of there.
Beautiful. Oh, I love that.
All right. Thank you so much, Anu. I appreciate it. Thank you. Is there anything that we missed today that you want to tell the audience?
Oh, well, I guess, for those of you who don't do podcasting, then you can catch me on YouTube. Again, it's just Victim to Victor with a number 2. So that way you don't miss out. So it's either podcasting or YouTube or just get onto my website or follow me on social media to stay connected. I love to connect with you.
And put that up. There we go.
Lovely. Oh, thank you.
So we've been putting up your website. We've been putting up all of your information as we talk so people can actually grab that. Just go ahead and pause this video and go ahead and type it in. If you can't see it, it's victimtovictor.net. And thank you so much for tuning in. And thank you, Anu. I appreciate it. And hey, guys, you can do this.
You can.
You can do this. You can do this. You can do this. You got this.
You got
totally
this.
Got this. Yeah. You got this. You can do this. Until next time, guys, don't forget to dare to be different. All right, we'll be back with another show another time. All right, Victim to Victor. Go there. All right.
Take care.
dare to be different. I dare to be different. I dare to be different. I dare.